As a mother and a grandmother, it pains me to see that our youth, the future leaders of this country, is being damaged the most by the fentanyl crisis. And according to HHS, the rates of illicit prescription pill use are now the highest among people ages 18 to 25. And to make matters worse, DEA says that about 4 out of 10 illicit pills contain lethal doses of fentanyl, which I know you all know that. Before I go on, I want to ask for unanimous consent to insert a statement for the record from local law enforcement, Orange County Sheriff Department, as well as an article from the Orange County Register. All right. Seeing no objection, it will be entered into record. Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes' statement states that from 2021 to 2022, seizures of fentanyl had more than quadrupled to 450 pounds. And his department also seized more than 405,000 pills that are suspected of containing fentanyl in 2022. And that's 25 times the amount seized in 2021. So I want to ask the question to Mr. Cassara. Back in 2020, OFAC sanctioned Juan Cocoy, a member of the CCP and a leader of the 14K Triad. It's one of the largest Chinese organized criminal organizations around the world. In your statement, you mentioned that criminal activity has become part of the CCP's overall strategy to grow its power. So can you explain how trade-based money laundering works in practice? And from your experience, how does the CCP encourage this type of money laundering?
Thank you for the question. Trade-based money laundering, I believe, is the largest, most prevalent money laundering methodology around the world. It's also the least known, understood, and unenforced. I talk about it in more detail in my written statement. It's on pages 13 and 17. There are a variety of ways trade-based money laundering works, and there are a lot of different methodologies that are part of trade-based money laundering. For example, the black market peso exchange, underground financial systems, export incentive fraud, VAT fraud, all of this combined, as I said, make it probably the largest money laundering methodology in the world. There is much we can do to combat trade-based money laundering, but we have not yet taken this seriously by our government and other governments as well. I would also like to call out the Financial Action Task Force. In the world of anti-money laundering and counterterrorism finance, it is the FATF that makes things happen or not happen. I strongly urge the FATF to enact recommendation number 41 that specifically targets trade-based money laundering, and I urge our U.S. delegation to make sure that that happens. And I would also urge our U.S. delegation to call out China for being a money laundering center.
And so trade-based money laundering changed the advancements in technology and allowed Chinese and Mexican drug cartels to forge their businesses. So can you explain how that is possible?
Trade-based money laundering, think of it as value transfer. And we have had value transfer going back literally thousands of years, long before the advent of modern Western banking. This is wrapped up in, say, underground financial systems as well. For example, the Chinese flying money system that works very, very well. A lot of it has to do with, for example, hardworking immigrants wanting to send money back to their loved ones in China. We have no objection to any of that. Law enforcement certainly encourages hardworking immigrants to send their money back home. But what they've done is they're using a system developed back in the Tang Dynasty, if you will, back about 800, to transfer value in the form of trade goods.
I know I'm running out of time, but I do want to ask you to please walk through how Chinese professional money launderers are carrying out the mirror schemes and the role Chinese banking apps play to facilitate money laundering from the sale of illicit drugs. If you can quickly respond to that. And then,
We're talking about mirror accounts. So what happens is you've got bulk cash proceeds here in the United States, the proceeds of drugs. They need to get that back to China, okay? So you've got a Chinese broker working with a Chinese American businessman that's willing to cooperate. The businessman takes the proceeds of crime and from the broker, and using their cash-intensive business, places the proceeds of crime into the financial system. They do this for a commission, and the businessman transfers the equivalent amount of drug money through Chinese phone apps.
Mr. Kucera, I apologize. I asked the question and you are giving a great answer, but I'm going to ask you to submit your response in writing because I want to be respectful for other members who are here, and I already went over my time.